Artlist.io.
What's good? Welcome to Level Up with First String Podcast, Washington Commanders. Toothpick, that's Lady A. We're about to recap this Tennessee Titans game. Oh, the Sage.
I got it. Let me tell you something. I don't understand what happened.
Right.
I don't understand. I saged. I don't know. I feel like, once again, they didn't let me come down there and talk to the team during halftime. So maybe that's another thing. But I should have been there.
Right. Well, since we starting at the beginning, let's start with the most important thing. The center quarterback exchange.
Oh, that was really ugly.
We lost a couple of drives due to the center quarterback exchange.
Mm-hmm.
If this is something that they practice in practice, if this is something that they practice before the games, is this the best we can do with a center where his primary job first is to get the ball back to the quarterback? And I understand it's not our starting center.
Well, no. Tyler Larson was activated.
Right.
10-8.
Right, but he may need some time. Because he was just activated, right?
Right. So it was 10-8. So yeah.
Yeah, but this center rolling the ball back in the shotgun, it handicaps your offense, especially when you start to get a little bit of momentum. And then the next thing you know, you got an 8-yard loss because he dribbled the ball back to the quarterback. That's a problem. You've said it a couple of times this season. Is the line sabotaging Carson Wentz?
It looks like it.
Right.
It really does. That's the only way I can describe it.
Mm-hmm.
There were a few times in the game yesterday. It feels like it was so long ago. So I tried to put it out of my mind. But there were a few times I'm like, it's like they stepped away. Now, I will admit, the game against the Titans, when it comes to offense, their line, they weren't as bad as they were, say, against the Eagles.
Right.
Against Dallas. They weren't that bad. But they still did not really seem to mesh well. And Carson was still inaccurate.
Right.
So they protected him more. But it still wasn't enough.
No, it's not enough because of the end result. And the end result is what we really get judged by, right? Mm-hmm. And right now we are 1-4. And you are what your record says you are. And we're not a good football team right now.
Right.
But the one positive I can say is that the team played hard. They didn't quit.
Right.
So
with that said, so to look at Carson's performance this particular game, I did see a few times where when it came to the snap, it's hard to say whether it's the center or the quarterback sometimes, unless you're looking at it in slow-mo. Of course, I was in the stadium, so I couldn't see it slow-mo. But unless you're seeing it in slow-mo, you're not always sure, like, was this the quarterback's fault? Was this the center's fault?
Well, we're talking shotgun here, right? Mm-hmm. And so last week they were in Texas, and I was at that game,
right?
And I saw Carson going low to catch snaps. I saw Carson going high to catch snaps sometimes, and he caught a couple of dribblers, and then the same thing happens the following week with the exact same center. So is it a technique issue that we don't know about, or is it just that this guy can't really get the ball back when we need him to get the ball back? So that's what I'm thinking about. And how do we fix this? And how do we fix this? We got to fix it fast because we have a quick turnaround on Thursday.
Well, right? I think that's the reason why they did that with why they activated
Larson.
Tyler Larson. So I really feel like there is an issue that they're familiar with. And that's the reason why, because we had one center hurt. That was Wes, right?
Right.
Wes got hurt. So this Nick that was playing?
No, this is Martin that was
Martin,
playing.
right?
Martin
Nick.
that was playing.
Yeah, Nick Martin. So remember at the beginning of the season, or actually before the season started, when they released the unofficial depth chart and we were looking, we saw a line first, right? We saw a line for second, then third. It was a lot of spaces. Center is not usually a position that you think that you have to have 10 people for, but you don't normally think that you need to have more than 2 or 3 at a time. At a time, because you can go through centers. I'm not going to lie and say you don't. But I feel as though because they realize we're only riding on the fact that we had Nick Martin. And
right.
if that's all we have right now, if the snap is bad and it's his fault, then we have no one else. There's nothing else. So that's why they did activated Tyler Larson. So I'm glad that they identified with that. However, at any point in the game, did they take Nick out and put Tyler in? Because I don't think so.
No, not
and
at all.
The snap was bad the whole game.
Right. And I want to stay up front. I want to stay up front right now because it's like our offensive line is where I think things start. And back in the day, I mean, everything starts and ends with your offense and defensive line. And right now, you bench Turner, and you brought in oh my God, I never get his name right. You brought in Sadiq Charles. And now you got one guard taken care of, but your left guard keeps getting put on skates and getting bullied up front. And he looks like a caveman, but he plays like Jane, right? They had Chris Paul, the guard, activated for the first time.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you want to bring in Brian Robinson to run the ball, to be that guy that we thought he was going to be pre-shooting. Congratulations, the man made his first NFL start.
Yes.
But in doing so, you sat down. You then turned around and sat down Antonio Gibson, who had been running really hard, right? He'd been running really hard, has not put the ball on the ground, and he's giving you some productivity in the passing game. So yesterday, your running game takes a step back because you want to give Brian Robinson his first carries. He went 9 for 22. But did you also hurt him because you didn't sit Norwell down? And you still sabotaging yourself. We haven't even gotten to the passing game yet. You're still sabotaging yourself here because now you brought a man in who hasn't had the hits and everything like that, and you sat a man down who had been giving you almost 7 yards a carry. In the first half of the Cowboys game, Gibson gave you 7 yards a carry. You was averaging, 6 yards a carry between Gibson, Williams, and McKissick last week in the first half.
Antonio, for this past game, he got some yards, and then I saw him with the ball.
Late. A lot of his yards came late.
Yeah, but I mean, Antonio could have been in the game the entire time and still not touch the ball. Look at Terry.
Well,
there have been times where Terry didn't touch the ball until the third, fourth quarter.
Facts. And I actually, we're going to get there too, but I still want to deal with this offensive line. So here's what you got in the running game yesterday. You had 17 attempts, 43 yards, 2.5 yards per carry. That's not very good, right? No. And that's including Carson Wentz 5 for 15. So he had a 3-yard average, right?
Right.
A long of 8. Brian Robinson long was 6. But you had a couple of holding calls that brought those things back. You had Martin with the hands to the face late in the game that sort of stunted the drive. You're still sabotaging yourself up front, right? Some false starts that kills us. After a good pickup, you have a false start, and we start to get onto a roll. So your offensive line is still doing a lot of things that's killing us, and
Yeah.
we need to get that under control. And all I can think about is this: Coach Ron Rivera, with his hands folded, taking it,
Yeah.
right? And I think it was, I can't remember. I was talking to somebody, it may have been in the Discord or something like that. That we were talking, we was like, where's the anger? Where's the passion? And it was like Coach Gibbs wouldn't get mad in public, but the players knew when Coach was mad.
Yeah.
But they also said Coach had Joe Bugle. And Joe Bugle will go get that line. He go get that offensive side. Who's doing that for this team?
Nobody.
It's like,
there's no sense of urgency. There's none.
I would honestly say my point of emphasis is this. We all saw the Green Bay game, the Green Bay New York game, right? They called that illegal formation on the Giants when they were inside the 5-yard line.
Right.
Brian Daboll was losing his mind because there was really no illegal formation. Now maybe they said a player didn't report, maybe the guy missed it or something like that, but they keep rubbing on their chest to let them know, hey, I'm here, right? Until they acknowledge them. But that's what I'm saying. Is you got Ron Rivera just sitting here like this, and Brian Daboll is losing his mind.
Yeah.
And then the press conference yesterday, Scott from, what is it, ABC, CBS, NBC, one of the report, he says, is there a sense of urgency for you? And Ron says, no, maybe for you. Maybe for you.
So I told you guys before, being in the field that I've worked in for 14, 15 years, if someone's hired to do something, I expect them to do that job, right?
Right.
If they don't do it, then something has to happen. Whether it is some type of personnel action, or you need to write them up, you need to do something to motivate that person to do their job, or their job will be in jeopardy, because otherwise we've wasted our money.
Right.
And I feel in football, it's very clear how to see a person's performance, because as a head coach, if you are having issues like we're having, you have to make some sort of adjustment, and there should be a sense of urgency. Even if no one is on your back pressuring you, you should still, in your mind, because you know you have a job to do, have some sense of urgency to get the job done. Your job as a coach is to take everyone that works under you, players, coaches, and everything, and guide the entire team to a win every single game. That's every coach's job.
That's your job.
That's your goal. And if you are not able to win, if you notice, okay, the way things are right now, we're not winning. We're not getting anywhere.
Are they okay with losing?
Changes.
Are they okay with losing?
I feel that Ron is okay with losing, which to me is a character issue. But as an organization, someone should be on him about that.
Well,
some changes should be made. What did they say the definition of crazy is?
Repeating the same thing over and over and expecting a different outcome.
That's what he's doing.
But
he's
there's
doing every single week.
What is he going to do? Walk into his own office and have a sit down with himself? Right? You know what coaches on the hot seat when they have to go to the general manager's office and tell them they have to explain what happened the day before.
Right.
He has no balls. He has no boss, and that's why I think that they are okay with losing. Because if you look at the press conferences that what Ron putting out is, we have to keep doing the same thing that we're doing, and it's going to work. Well, today Ron said when he was asked, and I'm pretty sure you guys have seen it on ESPN and everywhere else by now, is what's the difference between y'all and why is the rest of the NFC East further along than y'all? And he said the quarterback.
And that's his choice.
Whoa. But You met Carson Wentz, first one there. As soon as he walks in the door, and you say, "We're happy to have you here."
And when people have mentioned Carson's history, his past, he kept saying he was standing by.
He's defending
him,
and defending him.
So for me, I'm realistic about this situation. Carson was not the savior of the team, and he's also not the entire downfall.
Exactly.
So Carson is many things, but Carson is not the only problem with our offense. Carson is not the only problem with our team. Carson is a problem, but he's not the only one. If you take Carson away and you give us a quarterback who's more accurate, who's faster out the gate, somebody who can get out that pocket and make some moves. You replace Carson with a quarterback like that, we still have problems on our offense.
Yeah, and we're just addressing the line. We haven't just addressed the line.
Our offensive line is garbage. So how can a quarterback do his job behind that line? It's going to be difficult.
Hey, I think that Carson should have went into his office today and said and told Ron Rivera, "You sold me on a bill of goods that you don't have," because literally he told Carson he was going to have a better line when he got here, right?
And it's worse.
But the minute you got here, there are two guards that are gone.
Yeah.
Right? Yep. One that didn't want to be here. Okay. One that didn't want to be here, and I'm talking about Brandon Sheriff. And then the second one, you decided to cut for what unknown reason, because you needed some cap space.
Yep.
Because of Carson's salary.
Yep.
If I were Carson, I would be asking for a refund, because this is not what you sold me on. You sold me on I would have a better offensive line here than I did. And my line is just as bad, if not worse, than the line that I had in Indianapolis. As bad as Indianapolis talked about.
Carson is in a strange place too. Because
I agree.
Carson, made it seem like he had done all this work to improve himself. Carson is no more accurate than when he was in Philly, let alone with the Colts.
I agree. I agree.
Carson has, what have you done, Carson? You have not. Where are the drills? What's going on? Because he's still not accurate. I mean, let's be real. The last play of the game, his last play of the game was classic Carson, and it cost us the game, because we could have easily gotten a touchdown out of that.
I think
because Carson did the situation, we didn't.
Yeah, I will get there.
Yeah,
we'll get there. Well, I personally had a conversation last night, yesterday during the game, which ran over into last night, about one said De'Ami Brown, which I wound up finding myself defending De'Ami Brown, right? And some of these conversations you have, they are pretty good. And you have to be willing to listen to other people and take their opinion on board. And I have said that De'Ami Brown is a bust. And I'm not backing down from what I said, because I'm standing on my principle and what I said, because I think that wide receivers come into the league now and they produce immediately, because it's a offensive league.
Right.
You can't touch them, you can't hold them, you can't grab them. However, my point of view has changed a little bit, because maybe it's the situation that he's been put in. Maybe he didn't come in as a polished route runner, and his best routes are post and 9 routes.
Yeah.
Right. And last year you played with a quarterback that couldn't throw that. Well, this year he's playing with a quarterback who can throw it. In 5 games into the season, he has 2 touchdowns. He has 2 catches off of 4 targets, 2 tutties, right? De'Ami Brown, 4 targets, 2 catches, 4 targets, 2 catches, 2 TDs, 75-yard long, 105 yards total, right? De'Ami balled out. He's pretty much, if we take De'Ami's touchdowns off the board without him yesterday, we have 3 points. We had 3 points.
We wouldn't have won.
So here's my thing: is we're going to Chicago this Thursday. What would you say is an acceptable follow-up game for Diami? What is acceptable?
I mean, truthfully, I have no complaints of his performance whatsoever. Um, one of his catches, I was so shocked and how he even caught the ball. Actually, both of them were kind of like, "Ooh, is he gonna catch it?" But he did.
Well, he tried to fight the first one.
Yeah,
He tried to fight it.
but I mean, that last catch, I was like,
Amazing,
wow,
amazing. And
because
hey,
and he was on the side, like I was right, I wasn't too far from where he was, and I'm looking like he caught that, like
Diami made Sports
he
in the
really
top
caught
10.
it.
He's number 3. He made
Yeah,
Sports in the top 10. That's a one-handed snag. That was
yep,
amazing,
yep,
right?
and I was so proud of him. With him being young, I love these young players getting their chance to shine because we're this league right now. We have a lot of youth in the league that they're able to shine and just show these little old heads, that you can. Hey, I'm here too. So I like to see that. I want De'Ami Brown to win. I want him to do well. So going forward, I feel like just do what you do. Like with this team being so chaotic right now, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't seem like it really has a lot of structure. I can't blame him for whatever position he's in. And I feel like he made the best of what he had. And that's what that, like, okay, I'm gonna go in this game. I'm a, be a playmaker. I'm gonna do something, and going forward, keep doing that. Keep doing, if the ball comes your way, grab it by any means necessary is what he did. So I have no complaints of De'Ami Brown, especially after this last game. Prior to this game, I mean, what came his way?
Right,
He
right.
could have done the same thing week 1 if the ball was thrown to him.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I do feel like we have a lot of great talent on our offense. We really do. Can they get to the ball? Antonio had a couple of little strange Butterfinger moments, but in general, we have running backs, wide receivers. Like, come on now,
We
we
have the playmakers, and Thursday night they need to be on full display. I know
I
we
agree.
I know that we're not going to have Jahan Dotson, which,
Yeah.
like we said, Seawall has been on here and she said, when you have Terry, Curtis, Jahan, right? When you have those guys, somebody's getting smoked.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to see the 4 wide package
Yeah.
with Diami and
Mm-hmm.
Terry on the same side, or
Yep.
Diami and Curtis on the same side, because
Yeah.
you cannot double that. And you
Yeah.
got Jahan. But before we can get into all of that, we got to do the simple things like snap the ball and protect the quarterback so that they can
So
have
he can
time
do
to
what
let
he's
these
supposed to do.
develop.
Yeah.
Right. So they can let this develop. Now, let's get to the defensive side of the ball. The defense played well and they tackled very well yesterday a little bit. There was some questionable things that happened, and I
Yeah.
can't lie. I mean, those screen plays, I thought I saw our players getting mugged and tossed aside and things like that. But
Yeah.
whoever was impersonating Montez Sweat, finally they found him and kicked him out of that uniform and put the real Montez Sweat in that game.
Mm-hmm. He
Now,
did well.
Montez also took his helmet off, and Ant said, Ant was honest. He was like, "Yo,
Yeah.
he's a little special for ripping his helmet off. That's a
Yeah.
penalty, which we got away with one, right? But
Mm-hmm.
the officials made sure that we didn't get away with too many because once
Oh.
again, penalties were in the favor of the opposite team.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I just got to say the defense is playing a lot better.
Yeah.
But the issue to me is still we lost the game.
Yeah.
We lost the game, and if we go to Chicago and lose this game, are we ready to pack it in? Are we ready to start quarterback watching and start coach watching? What do you think?
So if we lose this one, I need first of all, I need Ron to stop pretending that everything is okay in Commander Land, because it's not.
It's not. It's not.
It's not. It is chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
And although our defense has been our bright side so far, let's be realistic. If the offense was on point, we would be angry with the defense too. Part of the reason why is because Derrick Henry of the Titans, and I mentioned this in our conversations yesterday, Derrick Henry literally continued to run the same play over and over and run straight up the middle.
They soft at the middle.
He got so many yards. You cannot allow them to pick you apart and know your faults immediately at the beginning of the game. You have to, you should know your fault before your enemy does,
right?
So that you can try to strengthen it,
right?
Or at least mask it. It was so clear. Derek was like, "Oh, I'm going to keep running up the middle." That's embarrassing. So, if we lose, everybody's at fault.
Hey, Joe Gibbs used to say we all in it together, but Ron Rivera's pointing fingers, calling it this person's fault, and that person's fault. And that's not to be a leader of men, sometimes you got to look inward and say, hey, you know what? I messed up.
Yeah.
Right? Which is one of the things that I try to say about us holding on to players that we think are great, but statistically, analytically, their production is not equal to what we have.
Yeah.
Case in point, we sat Williams actually on the third down yesterday. He's not having a great season. He had a terrible game in Dallas. It started to trend that way, and they put him down. Sit down. And Juice came in. That's what you need to do. The next one is Bobby McCain. Bobby McCain made a couple of tackles, maybe 3 or 4, out of self-defense and self-preservation.
Yeah.
Like you literally, Derrick Henry tripped over you instead of stepped on your back or face.
Yeah.
And you got credit for a tackle.
Yep.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're watching you. You called out the young man, Jamin Davis, but Jamin Davis and Cole Holcomb, those guys are doing everything they can to get to the ball and the ball carrier as fast as they can.
Every game. I'm gonna be honest with you. You know, especially with our home games. You know, I could be doing anything. You know, I might be looking over here talking to somebody. But one thing I heard from week 1, I heard Jamin Davis's name. Jamin Davis with a tackle. Davis with a tackle. You know, when you're in house and someone makes a tackle, they say it. They say who you are. They put it out there. I always heard Jamin Davis, so I don't like the way they did him. Montez Sweat, I heard this last game. I heard him. I heard that he every time Sweat with the tackle. That was Montez Sweat. Holcomb with the stop. I hear these things. These kids are doing all that they can, but guess what? Our defensive line is more than 3 people.
It is more than 3 people.
It's more than 3 people.
It's way more than 3 people, and they have to play as a team. They have to play for each other.
Yeah.
And we got Doc tomorrow, and Doc is going to probably tell you right now that we got some. How did he put it? Some individual players that are playing for themselves out there right now. They're not playing for each other.
Yeah.
They are players for hire.
That's why it's breaking down the way that it's breaking down. See, here's the thing that they forget. Remember I said that you get hired for a job, right?
Right.
When you get hired for a job, and for the players, it's to be part of a team.
Mm-hmm.
So you're part of a team. That's number 1. That's the first part of your job. You are a part of this team. So I'm hiring you to be a part of this team. What position you play in this team, what role you play in this team, that's number 2. Once you get number 1 and number 2 together and you understand fully, then hey, and you're doing number 1 and number 2, you're being a team player and you're playing your position and your role that was given and assigned to you. What more can I say? I can't say much. So remember I said to you, speaking of team player, remember I said to you guys, I was like, you know, Carson, are they doing this on purpose? They're not blocking him, this and that. I'm saying all these things. And I'm like, maybe he needs to buy some gifts or something for the offensive line.
Yeah.
Well, at the end of the game, it's very clear that there's some disconnect with Carson and the rest of the team. At the end of the game, I saw Carson on one side of the field. The entire team was on the other side, and everybody was going inside. Carson was chatting it up with the Titans players. They were speaking to him, greeting him, saying hello.
Yeah, he won the game for him.
And at the end of each game, Carson and usually other players, they do their player circle. They kneel and pray. Every game.
Right. This
game, Carson was the only burgundy.
Whoa.
So when I say...
That's telling. Last time I saw something like that, it was versus Robert Griffin III. Last time I saw something like that.
The team is not, and that's what I'm saying. The team is not with Carson. And it seems like Ron has hopped on board along with the rest of the team. But once again, Carson is many things. But you have to understand that offensive line, they're coming and they're not doing their job either.
Facts. Hey, let's get ready to end it on this.
Mm-hmm.
The team didn't quit. And for those of you hoping that come Friday morning, some miracle happens, I'm going to tell you, it's a long season, right? And right now, we just got to keep the faith, keep our heads up, and root. No loser talk over this way. No loser talk this way. Every week we got a chance. Any given Sunday, anything can happen.
Oh.
Except for this week, because we play on Thursday.
Right.
So, say it's not here, but we call it an OG Classic because we get in. And no, we're not out yet. We are not out yet. Sorry, Lady A.
What do we have?
I lied, Lady A. I lied, man. But why did we lose this game? We lost this game on third down. We lost this game on third down. We were 1 for 11 on third down. And I cannot get out of here with ignoring that. We lost this game on third down. If you look inside the numbers, you cannot win a game if you can't stay on the field. Not every possession is going to be a 75-yard bomb.
Right.
Not every possession is going to be. I think that when was the last time we had a running back run a 40-yarder?
Yeah.
So this quick strike ability that everyone's looking for is not there for us.
Right.
So you have to sustain some drives, and you can't do that by going 1 for 11. And how do we wind up going 1 for 11? Penalties, self-implosion.
Holding. That was the penalty of the day.
Dropping passes. Yeah. Right? All these things go into it. So we got to clean these things up.
And we did do better on turnovers.
No, we didn't. We turned it over once. We didn't take any takeaways.
Better. I said we did better.
Oh, we didn't. You mean we didn't give up 3?
Right. And we went almost the whole game.
Yeah, but at the point in time where we did have a turnover, it was when we had the chance to win. Yeah, it was crucial. It was crucial.
And that is the part that bothers me because I'm going to be honest with you. The play before that, Carson looked like he was trying to throw it to the Titans players. So, Carson, are you a spy? Are you planted here on purpose to have some type of, do you have another motive other than being our quarterback?
Right.
Because like I said, when we played for the Eagles, there was one particular throw. He kind of tossed the ball to pass it, but it was an Eagles player right there. Carson.
He did the same thing in Dallas. They did the same thing in Dallas.
You see what I'm saying?
We did the same thing in Dallas.
And so when it happened for the Eagles, I was like, oh, well, did he forget he's not playing for them anymore? Like, what's going on? So it bothers me. There's a lot of friction within the team. We know there's a lot of friction within the organization. That type of stuff, that toxic stuff that's going on, it spreads. It's contagious. So you have the organization itself, all this toxic stuff going on, and now you have the team. You're right. Third down conversion. Like that's a problem.
That's a huge
It
problem.
was frustrating. It was like you're 3 and out, 3 and out. We kept seeing that.
Huge problem.
So and then the penalties were outrageous. And like I said, holding. Like every time I turn around, holding.
Penalties. 9 for 71. Turnovers. 1.
Come on now.
Illegal hands to the face.
It was his face mask.
Knocked his helmet.
Right, his helmet came off.
Knocked his helmet off.
Are you kidding? This is what we're doing.
You lost the little battles like time of possession. You lost the time of possession 32 to 40. Oh, I'm sorry, 32 minutes and 40 seconds to 27 and 20 seconds. You lost the time of possession. You lost the turnover battle. You lost the third down battle. This is losing football. You lost the rushing battle. You lost the passing battle. Every area that you can lose in, you lost.
And that's how you lose the game.
And the only thing you did win was total yards, which was garbage because you got a lot of that in the last drive when you needed to score, but you
and I saw that. I saw that we were doing better as far as yardage was concerned, which was sad because we weren't winning. If you're not in the lead, but you're winning the yardage, somebody needs to take a step back and think about this. Some changes need to be made. And Ron can say whatever he wants about Carson, but Carson works with, when it comes to Carson's position and things that he does on the field, you have a quarterback coach. Okay. You have an offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
If the quarterback was the main and only problem, why were there no adjustments? And I don't mean just, each play. If you're telling Carson to do one thing, if Carson's not doing what he's asking you to do, how is that possible? How is he still in the game? If you're saying, because really that's what it boils down to. The quarterback is told, hey, this is what we're going to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least that's what I thought happens.
He should be the main man. He knows the game plan, the adjustments, and what's going on.
Somebody's telling the quarterback what to do, right? He's taking direction from someone. So if Carson's out there messing up, there is somebody's, a few of them, that can tell him how to adjust. If Carson is not adjusting on his own, let's say if Carson's the only problem, that means that the quarterback coach or the offensive coordinator or you, Ron, have told him how to adjust within the game. If you told him how to adjust and he did not make that adjustment, it is up to you to pull him. So
let's see what the kids got.
Don't go online on air, telling us that it's the quarterback, because on top of that, how does Carson feel right now? His team.
He better not be feeling any kind of way right now because we got a game on Thursday. So they should have had a game plan today.
Right.
Practice tomorrow, flight on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to make it happen. And the game plan install should have went in today. So he needs to be studying Chicago's blitzes. Yep. We got no time to get in your feelings, because if you carry that till Thursday, oh Lord, it's going to be a bad day. But if you
think about it like this, okay, so Sunday happened, right?
Right.
Like I said, I saw his team turn their backs on him, like whatever. Okay, let's say he got over that, and then your head coach gets on camera and says these things, which I strongly encourage head coaches not to say stuff like that, even if you feel that way. Even if you feel that way.
Right.
because people they zoom in on that. They're like, oh, he said it's a quarterback. Okay, now it's a quarterback controversy.
Well, I mean, they've been calling, you said it yourself, they've been in the stadium yelling Heineke, right?
They were yelling it. They've
been in the stadium yelling Heineke because Carson's not mobile anymore. But who cares? Because guess what? We saw what Taylor Heineke gives us. Hey, if it's that bad coming out of the Chicago game, I expect to see Sam Howell. I do not expect to see Taylor Heineke.
And I've been saying from day one. What did I tell you? I said Sam is a monster. He's little, but he has an arm on him. Not as strong as Carson. Carson has an arm. It's just not accurate. And he's scared to use it.
And I still expect this offensive coordinator to roll this guy out, roll him away from your weak offensive line so that you can buy him some more time, get the receivers open on these downfield passes and things like that. So listen, we'll see you all tomorrow with Doc.
Yes.
We will be live streaming on Thursday, our watch party of this game. We appreciate each and every person for watching, you know. And so now we appreciate y'all for watching Level Up with the with the First Screen Podcast, talking Washington Commanders here. For myself, for Lady A, we call it an OG Classic because we get in and we get out. And since Say It Ain't Here, you know we'll say, go Dogs. Hey.
Artlist.io